Hello and welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. It is August 29th, 2020. This is episode 264. Stand-up comedian, actor, improviser, but most importantly, a dreamer. Paul Green here as I document my journey, talk about what I am learning along the way as I pursue a career in comedy, and overall just what it's like to have big dreams and to go for them and to experience all the ups and downs, the highs, the lows on the way. So anybody out there who is going for something as well, maybe, just maybe, something I say will provide a little insight or a little encouragement. So I had just got back to Phoenix after spending a couple days in Los Angeles, California. I drove out there with my papa for the sole reason of watching one of my favorite performance ensembles in the world. And that performance ensemble is the Improvised Shakespeare Company. Now, I have talked a lot about these guys over the last few days, and all I can say more is if you ever have opportunity to see these guys perform, take that opportunity. Do not let it pass you by. They perform monthly, usually once or twice a month in Los Angeles, and a few times a month in Chicago, although I've never seen him in Chicago. I've only seen their Los Angeles troupe. And anyway, I raved about him, I think on yesterday's podcast or maybe a few days ago, so I'm not going to go into detail about them again, but sufficeth to say their capacity to improvise in Shakespearean style while still maintaining or developing a plot, developing characters, rhyming everything, their vocabulary, all of that is one thing, but the other side of it is everything they do and say is the funniest thing I have ever heard, and it's just nonstop. From the moment they take the stage, their energy, their comedic timing, their physical humor, their ability to play with one another and to create characters, oh my gosh, I can't even. So watching them is just so inspirational to me. And I don't know if this is good, bad, or indifferent, but, I talk so much about having dreams and going for them on this podcast. And one thing that I like to do from time to time when I'm in a certain circumstance is I like to do the whole visualization thing. Now, there have been countless books, self-help books and the like, on the power of visualization. I'm really not going to say yay or nay on that. I definitely don't think it hurts. Now, is it a panacea? Is it this idea that anything that you can conjure up in your imagination means that you'll also be able to produce that imagination in real life? That definitely is not true. Otherwise, my life would look very different. Everybody's would. But so the Improvised Shakespeare Company, where I most often see them, is a theater in Los Angeles known as the Largo, and I suspect it seats about 400 people, and they sell out that venue. Every single time I've seen them, they sell out. Matter of fact, they sold out when I tried to go see them this week, and I'm kind of friends with one of the performers. I mean, he at least responds to me. when I lived in LA, I'd hired this performer actually as an improv coach, and he came out and coached my improv troupe. Really, really great guy. An unbelievably brilliant actor and improviser. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable. So anyway, I get to the theater and I just take a moment to go like, wow, these guys have built this audience over years of excellent performance, and they're able to sell out this theater. And I just took a moment to go, what would it feel like if this many people were buying tickets to see me perform? And I also visualize that with my 2-person show that I do with my fellow comedian, Josh Noby, known as the Midlife Crisis Comedy Show. And again, does that mean that visualization, because I took a moment to do that, is going to inevitably materialize? I don't know if it's inevitable, but hopefully it's at least possible. And that leads me to where I am at in this crazy dream of mine, and so many great things have been happening. So this week alone, I have had 3 auditions, and I just got informed that I have a callback for one of them on Friday. If you don't know the whole audition structure, anybody who's casting anything, they'll audition X amount of actors. Just to keep the numbers simple, let's just say they look at 100 actors. They will then comb through all of those auditions, and they'll usually pick whoever their favorite top, 5 to 7 performers were. And those 5 to 7 will get a callback, which means it's kind of like level 2 of the audition. They want to see if you can bring it again multiple times. Maybe sometimes they will ask you to try different approaches, different emotions, different tactics. Every once in a while, you'll get asked to read an entirely different character, because maybe they see something in you that they didn't see before that would be more consistent with another character. So anyway, Friday I will be having that callback. And then ultimately, things are going to be a little different, because I am going to be heading back to Los Angeles next week to perform at the Magic Castle 5 nights in a row. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be awesome. And, I still have big things that I want to accomplish, everybody. But at the same time, I look at my life and I look at the things that I'm getting to do, and I do have to just pinch myself and take a moment to just be so grateful for everything that is going on in my life, for all these opportunities that I get to perform and to audition and to go watch live theater, live art, live comedy that is so inspirational, that just demonstrates how talented people can be. And it just motivates me to stay on this path. And sometimes, everybody, when you're out there, you're grinding away, the thing that you're going for just doesn't seem to be materializing. To me, there is a very real benefit to just going and doing something that brings you joy, and that inspires you, or that just elevates you above that day-to-day monotony. And for me, the Improvised Shakespeare Company is one of those. So much so that not only did I drive out from Phoenix to LA to see them, I stayed 2 days so that I could see them twice because they had a show Monday and Tuesday. And I went with my dad and I said, Dad, we're watching these guys 2 nights in a row. So instead of spending 1 night in LA, we're spending 2 nights in LA. Let's go. And I have no regrets about that decision. So with that, I have been horribly neglectful of the second half of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. It's a 2-part episode, everybody. Part 1, I talk about my dreams, what I'm up to, and any little insight that I've got. And then part 2, I have been dissecting the 48 laws of power. So if you haven't gathered yet, I am very much into self-help type literature, self-help philosophies. I'm always grappling with, a number of philosophies at any given time. And about a month ago or so, I bought the 48 Laws of Power because I was under the impression that it was a self-help book. And I guess technically it is. However, I have really not been a fan of the book in general, not for any other reason than I don't really feel that... How do I word this? So the book is all about gaining power, and it really does mean gain power at all costs with no regard to anybody else. It's almost like actually other people are really just to be used as pawns or victims, and the book even uses the word victims as though it's a good thing. Like, hey, if you do this tactic, here's how you can victimize people in the wake of your tactic, which quite frankly, I just find absolutely despicable. So, whatever the book is trying to teach, I am concerned. And anyway, I've just been going chapter by chapter by chapter. Now, not every chapter is, to me, a despicable law or idea. But a lot of them were. So, anyway, today's chapter is work on the hearts and minds of others. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, first of all, this is one of those laws that, at least by way of how it is expressed just in that sentence, that I don't necessarily disagree with. Now, the book goes on and starts to discuss how working on the hearts and minds allows you to manipulate them, which, again, not a fan of manipulation. I am not a fan of coercion. I'm not a fan of dishonesty. I'm not a fan of any of that. I am a fan of, putting yourself out there, however you want to put yourself out there, and then sharing your message, and then, or whatever it is, and then letting people who resonate with it. But, and in that regard, I would say working on the hearts and minds of others is always going to be crucial. Now, again, the book is trying to teach you how to obtain absolute power. My goal is not absolute power. My goal is creating a comedy brand that is successful and financially and economically viable. Now, in order to do that, I am going to have to influence the hearts and minds of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to become fans. And appealing to people's hearts and minds, of course, you have to do that. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but I am opposed to it if the intent of that, if the intent of working on people's hearts and minds is one of manipulation or dishonesty or gaslighting or any of that sort of stuff. So again, the book does start saying, hey, find out what people really love and then use that to, manipulate them into getting what you want from them. Yeah, not a big fan of that execution of the law, but at the same time, I'm working on the hearts and minds of people. It's like, well, I want people to laugh and to experience joy. So I want to be able to connect with their heart and mind so that I can use all of the resources and tools I have at my disposal as a performer and a comedian to work on their hearts and minds to elicit laughter, and hopefully elicit laughter to the degree that they are then willing to pay money to have that experience with me. So, there you go. I don't mind the idea, but it's not an idea in a vacuum. I want good intent. So everybody, whatever your dream is, whatever you're reaching for, just remember, you will need to work on the hearts and minds of other people. And again, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, as long as your intent is to have a mutually beneficial interaction with whoever it is that you are working on. And in that regard, I say more power to you, no pun intended. All right, everybody, that is going to be the update for today. I am dead tired driving from LA to Phoenix, or from Phoenix to LA and back. But man, such a great trip. So everybody, I am just really excited. There's so many great things coming up. We got a bunch of shows booked with the Midlife Crisis Comedy Show. I've got the Magic Castle next week. I've got stand-up shows. I've got auditions. I've got callbacks. I've got rehearsals for my sketch comedy troupe. And I still got a full-time job that I am working at. And, life is good, everybody. Just keep at it. Keep pursuing your dreams and see what happens. There, to me, it's just, you never know till you go for it. All right, everybody. That's all for today. I love you all so much. I hope you're doing well. Hope your dreams are coming true. It is August 29th, 2024, episode 264 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. I love you all so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow.